Hello everyone. This is the fourth chapter of your science book, that is materials, metals and non-metals. So in this video we will cover this chapter. Topics are physical properties of metals and non-metals, chemical properties of metal and non-metal, displacement, reaction and uses of metal and non-metal. We are very familiar with the various materials present around us. These materials are broadly classified into three categories: metals, non-metals and metalloid. We'll discuss one by one. The first one is we'll discuss about physical properties of metal. As we know that metals are solid and hard. For example, aluminium, gold, copper, silver, these are hard and solid, but there are some exceptions. Mercury is a metal, but it is in liquid state. Except mercury, all other metals are solid. Similarly, except potassium and sodium, all other metals are hard. Potassium and sodium are very soft. They can be caught by knife. Next properties of metal is that metals have shiny appearance. They are having metallic luster. You can see from the figure, gold and this metallic rod have a shiny appearance. Metals are malleable. What does it mean, malleable? The property by which metal can be beaten into thin sheets. You might be familiar with the silver foil or aluminum foil. Silver foil is used for decorating sweets and aluminum foil is used for wrapping food items. How the metals can be beaten into like very thin structure, very thin sheet. This is due to the property of malleability. If we hammer the metals, then it will become thin sheet due to the property of malleability. Next property is ductility. Ductility is the property of metal by which it can be drawn into wires. Must have seen the copper wire. This is made from the copper metal. This is drawn from copper metal and it's given the shape of wire. This is due to the property that is ductility. Next properties is metals are sonorous. What does it mean, sonorous? Before going to the term sonorous, let me ask you one question. Have you ever noticed the difference in sound on dropping of a metal coin and a chalk? Definitely the sound is very different. When we drop a metal coin, it produces a ringing sound, whereas chalk doesn't produce. Have you ever noticed that in temples the bells are made up of metals? Have you ever seen a wooden bell in temple? No, because wood will not produce the ringing sound. So sonorous means what? The ringing sound. The property by which metal can produce ringing sound is known as sonorous. Next important properties is that metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. So what does it mean, good conductor of heat? Good conductor of heat means the substance which allows the heat to pass through it, to pass through one end to the other end. That's why we're using metal utensils for cooking purposes, because it will pass the heat from one end to the other end, by which we can cook our food. Next is good conductor of electricity. That means those substances which allows electricity to pass through them, to pass one end to other end. It's known as good conductor. Metals are good conductor of electricity. Copper wire passes electricity from one end to the other end. That's why it is used for electrical wire. Next, we will discuss about physical properties of non-metal. As we studied that metals are found in mainly solid state except mercury, but non-metals may be solid, liquid or gases. Carbon, sulfur, phosphorus are found in solid, bromine is liquid, oxygen, hydrogen and nitrogen are found in gaseous state. Non-metals have a dull luster. You can see phosphorus, Just compare it with gold or any metal. You will find that metal have a shiny appearance, whereas the non-metal have a dull appearance. Next properties is that nonmetals are poor conductor of heat and electricity. First we'll discuss a term that is poor conductor of heat. Those substances which doesn't allow the heat to pass through them, to pass through one end to the other end, is known as poor conductor of heat. Non-metals doesn't allow heat to pass through them. That's why wood and plastic is used for the handle of utensils, cooking wares. And when we'll toss the handle, then it will not hurt us. Next is poor conductor of electricity. What does it mean? Yes, poor conductor of electricity means, or it can be defined as those substances which doesn't allow the electricity to pass through them, to pass through one end to the other end, is known as poor conductor of electricity. Non-metals doesn't allow the electricity to pass through them. That's why the switchboard are made up of plastic, the covering of the electric wire are made up of plastic. That is the reason. Next, physical properties of non-metal is that non-metals are soft, except diamond. Diamond is the known hardest substances on the earth. And non-metals are brittle in nature. If you will hammer it, then it will broken down into various pieces. For example, sulfur. Next category of material is metalloid. Metalloid are those elements which shows both the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals. These are the elements which are metalloid: boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, selenium, antimony, and tellurium. So, what are their properties? As we discussed, this was both the physical properties of metals and non-metals, physical properties of both metals and non-metals. Some are shiny, some are dull. They are somewhat malleable and ductile and can conduct heat and electricity at a lesser level than metals. Next, we'll discuss about one more important aspect of this chapter, that is chemical properties of metals and non-metals. First, reaction of metal with oxygen. What happens when a metal reacts with oxygen? Yes, it will form metal oxide. You must have learned, or you must have done this activity, bonding of magnesium. When magnesium bond in the presence of oxygen, it reacts with oxygen, it forms magnesium oxide. That ash formed by burning is known as magnesium oxide. So when metal reacts with oxygen, it will form metal oxide. You just see the figure. When metal oxide or the magnesium ribbon is bond, it will produce this kind of light and it will form magnesium oxide. How to test whether metal oxide are basic or acidic in nature? Yes, we can take that metal oxide, that is magnesium oxide, in a china dish. We'll add some water, then we'll dip red litmus paper and blue litmus paper. In this solution, red litmus will turn blue and blue litmus doesn't change its color. That means metal oxides are basic in nature. Next, corrosion of copper. That means when copper get exposed for a longer time to the atmosphere, it reacts with oxygen, carbon dioxide and moist air. So it will form what? It will form copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. This copper hydroxide and copper carbonate will give a greenish coating on that copper metal. You see the chemical equation which is written: when copper reacts with water, carbon dioxide and oxygen, it will give copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. Next, we will discuss about iron oxide. When iron reacts with oxygen, it will form iron oxide. That means roasting. The chemical name of the roasting is iron oxide or ferric oxide. Rusting of iron means what? When iron get exposed to air for a longer time, to the atmosphere for a longer time, it will form the reddish brown color structure. The reddish brown substances will form, and it is known as roasting. See the chemical equation. Iron, when react with oxygen, it will form and water, it will form iron oxide. Next, reaction of non-metal with oxygen. What happens when a non-metal react with oxygen? When a non-metal react with oxygen, it produces non-metal oxide. As we studied, when metal react with oxygen, it forms metal oxide. And when non-metal react with oxygen, it forms non-metal oxide. Non-metal plus oxygen gives rise to non-metal oxide. We are taking here the example of sulfur. Sulfur plus oxygen gives sulfur dioxide. So how will we test whether the non-metal oxide are acidic nature or basic in nature? When we have taken that sulfur, we have to be taken in a spatula, just see the figure, and in that spatula we have to take the sulfur, then we will have to burn it. It will comes in contact with oxygen and it will form sulfur dioxide. Though sulfur dioxide is a gas, it may emit, so we have to keep it in this glass jar. When we will keep it in this glass jar, we have to cover and that lid, cover with a lid to ensure that the gas will not escape from this glass tumbler. Next, what to do? After some time, we have to remove that lid and we have to add some water to the tumbler and just shake it well. Then we will take out the reaction solution and we will dip litmus paper, and here we will observe that blue litmus doesn't change its blue litmus turns red, whereas red litmus doesn't change its color. That means non-metal oxide are acidic in nature. We discussed that metal oxide are basic in nature, non-metal oxide are acidic in nature. Moving on to the next, like reaction of metal and water. What happens when metal react with water? Yes, when metal react with water, it produces metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Suppose we are taking sodium. When sodium will react with water, it will form sodium hydroxide. Sodium is a very reactive metal. When it reacts with water or oxygen, a lot of heat is generated. That's why it is stored in kerosene. Reaction of non-metal with water. Generally, non-metal don't react with water, though they may be very reactive in air. Such non-metals are stored in water. For example, phosphorus is a very reactive non-metal. It catches fire if exposed to air. To prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric oxygen, it is stored in water. Reaction with acid. What happens when metal and non-metal react with acid? How they behave? When metal react with acid, it forms salt and hydrogen gas. For example, if we take zinc and sulfuric acid, it will form zinc sulfate. Zinc sulfate is a salt, and hydrogen gas will liberated from this reaction, and it will give a pop sound. Non-metals don't react with acid, but metal react with acid and produce hydrogen gas that burns with a pop sound. As we discussed that when zinc will react with sulfuric acid, it will produce zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas. That hydrogen gas will give a pop sound. Next, reaction of metal and non-metal with base. Generally, when metal react with bases, it produces salt and hydrogen gas. For example, you can see aluminum is taken and sodium hydroxide is a base which is taken in the reactant side, and when it react with each other, they form sodium aluminate, which is a salt, and it produces hydrogen gas. Like before also, that pop sound indicates pop sound will be formed when it burns. Reaction of non-metal with bases are very complex. next important content of this chapter is displacement reaction. So, how to define the term displacement reaction? From its term, like from its name, it suggests that it will displace something. Something will displace something. So, a more reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal from its salt solution is known as displacement reaction. Let A is more reactive than B, then it will displace B from its salt solution, that is BC, and it will form AC and B. So let us understand this displacement reaction by some activities or examples. So this is the example. Zinc is more reactive than copper. When zinc will react with copper sulfate is a salt solution. See this blue color copper solution, this is a copper sulfate solution from the figure. This is copper sulfate solution, aqueous copper sulfate solution. And whenever zinc is dipped in that solution, after some time you will see the structure like the figure, which is right hand side of this figure, right hand side of the slide. It will form zinc sulfate and copper. Copper is separated from this copper sulfate solution. That brown color, brown substances over the zinc plate is copper. And now that copper sulfate solution, which now becomes zinc sulfate, becomes colorless. Clear? So what are the changes here? Here zinc is more reactive than copper. It displaces copper from the salt solution and it forms zinc sulfate. Then copper again, in the product side copper again produced. That copper is separated from copper sulfate. It is coated over the zinc. Okay, let's stick to the zinc plate. How do you know that which metal is more reactive, which metal is less reactive? For that reason, I am sharing with you the reactivity series. This is the reactivity series. So the upper one are most reactive metals. They can displace the less reactive metals. Potassium can displace sodium or calcium, but calcium, the less reactive metal, can't displace potassium from its salt solution. So see from this reactivity series, zinc is more reactive than copper. That's why zinc can displace copper from its salt solution. But if you will take in the place of zinc, if you will take silver, then there will be no reaction at all. I think it's clear. So a more reactive metal can displace the less reactive metal, but a less reactive metal can't displace the more reactive metal. Just see the reactivity series, and from this you can have an idea which substances are more reactive, which substances are less reactive. This is one of the best example of displacement reaction. The other main aspect of this chapter is uses. What are the uses of metals and non-metals? Metal are used in making machinery, automobiles, aeroplanes, trains, satellites, industrial gadgets, cooking utensils, water boilers. Metal has widely used in every sphere of our life. From the cooking wares to the aeroplane, from the industrial gadget to the automobiles, satellites, everything is prepared from metals. You are also familiar with the uses of non-metal. Where non-metals are used? Non-metals are used in breathing. Yes, which non-metal is used for breathing? Oxygen. Oxygen is used by all living organisms for breathing, and it is very essential for our living, for our life. All living beings inhale during breathing. Next is for fertilizers. Nitrogen, phosphorus are the non-metals which used in the for the fertilizer to enhance the growth of plants. Every farmers are using fertilizers in the field. So these are the things which is required, which enhance the growth of plant. So what are the non-metals? They are nitrogen and phosphorus. Uses of other non-metal like chlorine. Chlorine is used for water purification process. You must have heard about chlorine tablet. Chlorine tablet is added to water to purify it, to kill the germs, to kill the microorganisms which are present in water. So this non-metal is used for purifications of non-metal, so purification of water. Next is antiseptic. Iodine solution is used in the is used or applied on wounds as an antiseptic. This is a purple colored solution, you might have seen. This is the figure which is iodine spread. Next is crackers. Some non-metals like such as sulfur which is used in crackers. So these are some examples of uses of non-metal. That's it.